What lies behind you and what lies in front of you pales in comparison to what lies inside of you. Never lose an opportunity of seeing anything beautiful, for beauty is God's handwriting. The only way to have a friend is to be one. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. For every minute you remain angry, you give up 60 seconds of peace of mind. Nature always wears the colors of the spirit. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. It is one of the blessings of old friends that you can afford to be stupid with them. People do not seem to realize that their opinion of the world is also a confession of character. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late. Doing well is the result of doing good. That's what capitalism is all about. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. All I have seen teaches me to trust the Creator, for all I have not seen. The first wealth is health. A hero is no braver than an ordinary man, but he is brave 5 minutes longer. All life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better. Love of beauty is taste. The creation of beauty is art. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail. The sky is the daily bread of the eyes. Though we travel the world over to find the beautiful, we must carry it with us or we find it not. A friend may well be reckoned the masterpiece of nature. Shallow men believe in luck. Strong men believe in cause and effect. Who you are speaks so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. Life is a succession of lessons, which must be lived to be understood. All is riddle, and the key to a riddle is another riddle. Character is higher than intellect. A great soul will be strong to live as well as think. He who is not every day conquering some fear has not learned the secret of life. Bad times have a scientific value. These are occasions a good learner would not miss. Every particular in nature, a leaf, a drop, a crystal, a moment of time is related to the whole and partakes of the perfection of the whole. Win as if you were used to it. Lose as if you enjoyed it for a change. The health of the eye seems to demand a horizon. We are never tired, so long as we can see far enough. For everything you have missed, you have gained something else. And for everything you gain, you lose something else. The real and lasting victories are those of peace, and not of war. People only see what they are prepared to see. This time, like all times, is a very good one, if we but know what to do with it. The end of the human race will be that it will eventually die of civilization. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. For every minute you remain angry, you give up 60 seconds of peace of mind. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. It is one of the blessings of old friends that you can afford to be stupid with them. People do not seem to realize that their opinion of the world is also a confession of character. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. With the past I have nothing to do, nor with the future. I live now. The desire of gold is not for gold. It is for the means of freedom and benefit. Trust your instinct to the end, though you can render no reason. Enthusiasm is the mother of effort, and without it nothing great was ever achieved. In the morning a man walks with his whole body, in the evening only with his legs. Before we acquire great power we must acquire wisdom to use it well. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines. As we are, so we associate the good by affinity seek the good, the vile by affinity the vile, thus of their own volition souls proceed into heaven, into hell. A man builds a fine house, and now he has a master, and a task for life. He is to furnish, watch, show it, and keep it in repair the rest of his days. We acquire the strength we have overcome. Good is positive, evil is merely privative, not absolute. It is like coal, which is the privation of heat. All evil is so much death or nonentity. Benevolence is absolute and real. So much benevolence as a man hath, so much life hath he. Every man is a quotation from all his ancestors. There was never a child so lovely but his mother was glad to get him to sleep. Fear defeats more people than any other one thing in the world. The reason why the world lacks unity and lies broken and in heaps is because man is disunited with himself. Some books leave us free, and some books make us free. Flowers are a proud assertion that a ray of beauty outvalues all the utilities of the world. If the stars should appear but one night, every 1,000 years how man would marvel and stare. It was high counsel that I once heard given to a young person. Always do what you are afraid to do. Every mind must make its choice between truth and repose. It cannot have both. The martyr cannot be dishonored every lash. Inflicted is a tongue of fame, every prison a more illustrious abode. The fox has many tricks, the hedgehog has but one, but that is the best of all. Truth is handsomer than the affectation of love. Your goodness must have some edge to it, else it is none. Everything in nature contains all the powers of nature. Everything is made of one hidden stuff. We are rich only through what we give, and poor only through what we refuse. The intuition of the moral sentiment is an insight of the perfection of the laws of the soul. These laws execute themselves. They are out of time, out of space, and not subject to circumstance. Our admiration of the antique is not admiration of the old, but of the natural. Use what language you will. You can never say anything but what you are. We are a puny and fickle folk, avarice, hesitation, and following are our diseases. I like the silent church before the service begins, better than any preaching. Men admire the man who can organize their wishes and thoughts in stone and wood and steel and brass. As long as a man stands in his own way, everything seems to be in his way. We do not yet possess ourselves, and we know at the same time that we are much more. The sum of wisdom is that time is never lost, that is devoted to work. Every man has his own courage, and is betrayed because he seeks in himself the courage of other persons. In every society some men are born to rule, and some to advise. A more secret, sweet, and overpowering duty appears to man when his heart and mind open to the sentiment of virtue. There is more difference in the quality of our pleasures than in the amount. Man is priest and scholar and statesman and producer and soldier. Wisdom has its root in goodness, not goodness its root in wisdom. Give a boy address and accomplishments, and you give him the mastery of palaces and fortunes where he goes. There are as many pillows of illusion as flakes in a snowstorm. We wake from one dream into another dream. A chief event of life is the day in which we have encountered a mind that startled us. One must be an inventor to read well. There is then creative reading as well as creative writing. Every spirit makes its house, and we can give a shrewd guess from the house to the inhabitant. Every fact is related on one side to sensation and, on the other, to morals. The game of thought is, on the appearance of one of these two sides, to find the other, given the upper to find the underside. Who hears me, who understands me, becomes mine, a possession for all time. Men's actions are too strong for them. Show me a man who has acted, and who has not been the victim and slave of his action. I have no hostility to nature, but a child's love to it. I expand and live in the warm day like corn and melons. It is said that the world is in a state of bankruptcy, that the world owes the world more than the world can pay. People with great gifts are easy to find, but symmetrical and balanced ones never. Men's actions are too strong for them. Show me a man who has acted, and who has not been the victim and slave of his action. I have no hostility to nature, but a child's love to it. I expand and live in the warm day like corn and melons. The reason why men do not obey us is because they see the mud at the bottom of our eye. The smoothest curled courtier in the boudoirs of a palace has an animal nature, rude and aboriginal as a white bear. It is my desire in the office of a Christian minister to do nothing which I cannot do with my whole heart. Having said this, I have said all. It is a fact often observed that men have written good verses under the inspiration of passion, who cannot write well under other circumstances.